All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Psychonaut Sessions, Ultraverse Edition. And you may not be able to see, but I'm actually here with my co-host, Aaron Conaway. Hey,
That's
Aaron.
me.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing excited about this batch.
Yeah, I am too. I like the next string of comics that we're going to be going through. I do have some nitpicks I do want to kind of talk through, but
Sure.
overall, I had a really great time. So today, obviously, we're going to be covering Hardcase #1 in the Ultraverse line. Here we go.
Look at that cover.
Yeah, so I
Catch.
remember back in the day, Hardcase actually being one of your favorites. At least you talked
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, he was up there. I mean, Prime was always my number one, but
Hmm.
Hardcase was probably number two.
Well, what I want to know after reading this is why.
After reading it, I wondered that myself. Not that it not to shit on it or bag on it, but I don't. I think maybe because he was super strong and he was super he had that Captain America
Hmm.
like not vibe but power set. And actually, my big takeaway is I think part of it is the number one issue being the enemy, like the NME, the creature,
Hmm.
like anything that's a riff on a Terminator xenomorph,
Yeah.
that's got my attention.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. No, I'm with you. Well, so we do have in the first Ultraverse line, we do have a series of uh, notable creators that at least contributed to some of the covers. Like Walt Simonson was one, and here we have Dave Gibbons doing the hard case. So this is actually Dave Gibbons was responsible for the hard case design and did the cover for #1. So we get a little Dave Gibbons action.
Well, there you go. That's
So
never a
that's
bad thing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I was okay with this cover. To be honest, when I was younger, I was like, "God, who is this guy?" It was something about his like crew cut, which I was disappointed in because he actually has a ponytail, but I
Right.
guess it's supposed to be him in the past. And when I saw this, I was like, "So are his hands bound? Like, is he handcuffed? Like, what's going on here?" So it didn't appeal to me, but I did enjoy the comic. If you wanna, do we want to go ahead and jump in?
Sure.
All right. Okay. All right. Here we go. So from the outset, we get a splash page, and for a splash page, again, I'm not trying to shit on this. It was just a little disappointing. I guess it's not a full splash page, but we just get Hardcase, our main hero, all beat up in the alley somewhere. We got our graffiti anarchy signs. That's always cool.
Right. Well,
Um,
when which comes into play later.
yeah. Oh yes. Oh yeah. Thank you. And then we get a double splash page, and this is where I was like, okay, here we go. Now
See,
we're
I
reading.
liked the little. I liked the little. Not like something's wrong. Plus, I just realized part of the reason I may have dug the first issue is this battle takes place on my birthday.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. March 10th. Yeah.
Yep. I just realized.
March 10th, 1992. What were you doing on that particular birthday in 1992?
I have no idea. That was a long time ago.
You were
Probably reading comics.
Yeah, probably reading comics. Um all right. So, yeah, we got this like I did not like think about this when I was younger, but reading through this I was like, "Holy crap, this is actually pretty brutal." Like if
It's
there was
wickedly gory. Yeah.
Yeah, if there was another artist that had their hands on this, they probably would have been going all at it. It's very interesting. So Jim Callahan is the penciler. Norm Breyfogle, hello, is the
Yeah.
inker on this, and you can kind of see his hand. You can kind of see his heavy darks that he puts in the way he forms his muscles and whatnot with the kinds of inks that he does. So I can definitely see that hand. And then I want to give a shout out to the writer, James Hudnall. That's writer of Solution, the book I can't wait for us to get to.
Is that just going to be what happens every time his name comes up now? There's the cover of Solution #1 comes up.
It's only the best superhero book of all time.
All right. Well,
I
hyperbole. Thy name is Daniel.
Yep. So I mean, honestly, this is like really cool. I agree with you. Like this, like xenomorph type robot. I mean, brutalizing. And so we're actually because this is supposed to be the book actually takes place. All these books take place in 1993. We're going through these chronologically. This was a year ago, so we get to see Hardcase and his crew getting torn up by this robot called Enemy, NME.
Which they don't know at this point, but the reader knows by the end of it.
Yep. And Hardcase, I mean, they're all brutalized. So Hardcase grabs the girl of the group, I can't remember her name, and leaps out of the way. So he's kind of like Hulk, where he can like jump really, really, really far. That's one thing I do kind of like.
Right.
And this guy, Jamal, basically blows himself up. And blowing up the enemy
Creature.
creature with him. Anything notable you want to point out here before I?
I mean, it's the leaping. Hulk leaps may have been another thing that sold me back in the day.
That is something I really liked about his character. You know how he can just like hop so far. I mean,
Right.
it's actually kind of like the original Superman vibe.
Right.
So it is pretty cool. And I mean, Hardcase is kind of that. He is kind of like the Captain America, you know, main hero of the Ultraverse universe. And so then we get, you know, in typical 90 fashion, we always get news, you know, footage of what's going on. And so Jamal and this other guy, the guy who had all his limbs torn off earlier, they're obviously dead. There was a huge crater in, was it LA, San Francisco? I can't remember. It's in California, and she's in a coma.
Yep.
And he's, of course, upset. Doesn't know at all. Enemy attacked them out of the blue. And then now we're here a year and a couple months later, because it's not March 10th, unfortunately. But it is June 1993, and we get Hardcase coming in with some action, and really, like, literally action. He's now taken to Hollywood and filming movies about himself. I'm going to say something. And this page, it's really highlighted, and it really this is something that really bothered me about this particular issue.
All right.
I normally love Ultraverse because of the coloring.
Yeah.
And I cannot stand the coloring in this because it's off. Everything's off by just a little bit. They're offset printing, so you can kind of see everything shifted over a little bit to the right, and it just like it just creates this weird effect that my 40-year-old eyes cannot manage. So it really bugs the hell out of me. I think the coloring itself was probably fine, but because it's off center, it's what happened once they got done coloring, and then they go to the printer and things weren't aligned correctly, unfortunately. So I don't know if that bothered you at all.
No, I was more paying attention to the fact that every dude had either a mullet or a head full of long hair, ponytails.
Yeah, I know, it's beautiful. In the 90s, all dudes were like that, don't you know? And they all had these like t-shirts that were like kind of low cut.
Yeah. Muscle shirts.
Yep, low cut muscle shirts. I'm gonna note you can really see Norm Breyfogle's inking prowess right here. Like those veins probably weren't there before. And you get that like kind of like fluid you know, facial expressions. So you can really see his influence over what's his name's pencils, Callahan's pencils, because you can see areas where Callahan's pencils aren't as polished that Norm just kind of pushed through. But I do really enjoy Breyfogle's inking here. And then we get a scene here where Hardcase is in his trailer, and there's some actor guy who is like a sidekick in the movie, but he wants to basically be Hardcase's equal and wants to get more lines, and Hardcase is like, suck it. Not a lot going on there, but then a security guard or an officer comes by and asks for an autograph, and they start kind of talking. And this is actually kind of a sweet exchange because the officer is kind of talking about like, we could really use you out there. It's really tough. And it kind of starts like hitting home for Hardcase that, maybe am I or am I not doing the right thing here?
Right. Well, it does a couple of things because it seeds what's about to happen.
Yep.
It lets you know that Hardcase is not completely gone Hollywood. Like, he still worries about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or at least gets concerned once it's brought up to him. So,
yeah,
I don't know. It was an all right scene. I could have taken or left the movie star wanting more screen time.
Yeah, I could have cared about that. But I did like the cop thing.
Yeah.
I thought that set things up nicely. You got the sense that it's like, okay, he kind of just, he was mourning his team, the squad.
Right.
They were called the squad. His team getting brutalized and murdered, and it's like this was kind of him doing this was kind of just a reactive thing.
Sure, yeah. He's ducked out of his responsibility and is just treading water.
And as we get a side story here, this is where the anarchy sign comes in, as you were stating before. So we get this
head knocker.
Yeah. These 90s villains, dude.
Yep. Well, and I can't remember because it's not addressed here, but like the douchebag that's just smiling smugly about taking his money out.
Yeah.
Right before Head Knocker attack. Like, I can't remember if they're in cahoots. I can't remember. Like, I don't know if he is somebody, because this is Ultraverse did this already. Like, we knew something happened to the squad in Strangers number 1 or number 2. I can't remember. And so, like, I don't know if this is seeding the future. I don't know what this is.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing about a lot of these Ultraverse books is you get these weird side stories. That's like, what does this have to do with the character in this book at all?
Which sometimes works really well. Sometimes it's like, oh, cool. So this is a lived-in world. There's things happening. That's awesome. But then sometimes it's just a little too mysterious. And I'm like, what? Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. All right. So, yeah, this guy's trying to make a withdrawal at the bank, and Head Knocker comes in. Right. And so the cops try to stop him. Head Knocker knocks some heads. We got a little bit more blood and gore. And he just starts, tearing everybody up.
Oh, with a name like Head Knocker.
Jeez.
What can you expect?
And so that's actually happening coincidentally not very far from Hardcase's studio. And so he's in the middle of an action take and then hears the gunshots and is like, oh, gunshots nearby. And so his superhero instincts are kicking into action. He feels like he needs to go have some help. So funny how gory this comic actually is, but they do it in such a reserved way.
Yeah.
That's definitely a Norm Breyfogle face right there.
Yeah.
All right. So Head Knocker's knocking heads still. The director's like, what the hell are you doing? And Hardcase is like, fuck you, I'm taking off. And this is where I was really starting to get into. This is so Hulk. Where it's just like, and when he lands, it's like concrete's going everywhere and taking off. I loved that. I could have gone for a full page of that.
The trajectory that like heroes can do, where it's like, I'm just gonna jump that direction, but it's gonna be all right.
I know, it's hilarious. I love it. So he lands. Head Knocker is got that upside down anarchy sign on his forehead. We can see it a little bit more clearly here than we have before.
Yeah.
And is that the same guard that Hardcase was?
Yeah.
So that's sad that he's got that guard.
He gets killed.
Yeah. And so there's some stuff like put him down, and he's like, "You want him? Take him." There's a lot of that in Ultraverse.
Yeah.
There's these like little like quips. Come to daddy, schmuck. Like, oh boy.
Well, and at some point in there, we found out that like when the squad got their powers, there weren't any known ultras on the radar. Like nobody knew.
Yeah.
Because so he was like, did he get his powers when we did? Did we? And I mean, we still at this point don't know how Hardcase got his.
Yeah. The one thing about Ultraverse I do love is that this is supposed to be like heroes are kind of a new thing. Superheroes are like we just had the Squad, and it's not like a relevant thing, but so all of this actually should be a surprise to everybody, Oh my God, who's this like weird Ultra guy? Like this isn't like a normal day in the Marvel universe in downtown New York.
Well, it's starting to be a little more so though, because remember this has jumped ahead a year, and at this point, Strangers has already happened. They don't know the ins and outs, but they know there's some powered things going on in San Francisco.
Yeah. Yep. I am going to point out the letterer. This lettering is wacky, zany all throughout. I mean, this guy is just having a good old fun time.
Yep. Shout out to Tim Eldred.
Yep.
It's fun lettering. Like it's. I'm cool with it.
Oh yeah, I absolutely love it because it's actually pretty cartoonish.
Yeah.
And I actually enjoy that. And then we get a very unnecessary splash page of Head Knocker where he finally says his head. But see, you can see where the coloring is offset here.
Yeah.
It just, God.
Well, and even as a kid, I didn't understand the upside down anarchy symbol. Does that mean he's all about, like, he's not chaotic?
He's an anti-anarchist.
He's all about peace. Like, I don't know. Or order, I guess.
He's all for governments, dude. He's all for.
I was a little lost.
Yeah.
Still am in my 40s.
That, like, literally, this is a very unnecessary splash page. He's not that cool to splay out on one page. And if they were going to do this, I would have liked more speed lines or something.
Or just more destruction.
Yeah.
Because he'd already been tearing up the bank. So, like, had he been, I mean, it would have been more gory, but, like, had he been ripping through people or something, or, like, something to make it, like, oh, shit.
Yep. Well, and so Hardcase gets knocked out, lands on a car nearby. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Scene. And when I first looked at this, I was like, wait a minute, is Hardcase running away? But no. Yeah. Not.
Which was everywhere. Every 90s comic has
90s.
a version of that.
It's just horrible. Like, I think it's so great that they did that on the page turn too, because I was like, wait a minute, like he's running away. I can't let him win. Where you going, Wimp? I was like, oh man, and I was like, and I had just watched X-Men 97,
Yeah.
It's just like, oh Lord. Oh, again, that lettering is so fucking awesome. Hits him with a car. That's pretty cool.
Again and again and again.
And again and again. Yep. So again, just hyper violent. I do really like this, but I wish I would have seen more of the actual car hitting him a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, now I'm looking at like that bottom right one where he's saying never. And since you pointed it out on the cover, it's like he's posed to always get handcuffs slapped on all the
time. Yeah, it's a weird choice. Chains. Like, what are you going to do with chains around your wrist anyway? But here we see Head Knocker with his head knocked in, and Hardcase trying to figure out what's going on, really. So, and this is where he's kind of musing about, retirement's out of the question. Looks like there's more Ultras out there, and he tells the news, I'm back. So it's just kind of this, like, who's this Ultra? Came out of nowhere. We don't know. It calls him back. But this I loved. So here we've got this mysterious Norm Breyfogle butt dude in a cave or something, hideout somewhere. And he's obviously watching all of the Ultra activity going on and is like, enemy failed. And that's where we find out it's enemy.
Yep.
And another Ultra has appeared. And so this is like a guy watching in the shadows. And he appears in a few books, I think.
The man who is not a man.
So.
Well, it was very, I don't know, something about the 90s. You saw this motif a lot where, like, somebody would be in a dark space, be it a cave, a command center, a ship, and there'd be this insane, over the top amount of screens
Yeah.
embedded in ways they could, like, how is he getting any kind of signal? This is a cave. But it doesn't matter because it's like, okay, cool, and he's naked.
It was very reflective of our time right before the internet was about ready to blow up, and we were just thirsty for information. And so you would see that in movies a lot too, just like millions of screens in front of, like, it was just like.
Well, and it was right at the dawn of the 24-hour news cycle, and
yeah.
So I mean, I get it, but it's funny to me how often when I flip back through old '90s comics, like Sinister was big on, and X-Men having like screens and screens. But now, as far as intrigue goes, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was all right. I didn't take really anything out of the editorial, unless you did.
No, I don't even know if I read that one.
So that's Hardcase #1. I enjoyed it. Okay, it was out of this like next batch that we were kind of looking at. It's actually my least favorite so far, even including Strangers. It's my least favorite, but I mean, I still enjoyed it. Okay,
I think it did what it was supposed to. I mean, you get who Hardcase is, you get why he thinks the way he thinks, you get his place in the world, and now he's like plugged back in, and now moving forward, it's like, okay, well, I do want to see what he does now. Now, particularly having read Strangers, like, how is this all going to work? How is this shared universe? So, I mean, I think it hit all the notes it needed to at the time. Does it hold up? No, not super well, but I mean, that's kind of par for the course with a lot of 90s comics.
Yep. Well, I'll be looking forward to see what we tackle next.
Cool.
All right. Is there anything you want to plug before we head out?
Nah, hit our usual spots. Daniel's comic, all his comics and books on his channel or on his website, and all mine on mine.
Yeah, there'll be links in the description. Thanks for joining us, everybody, and y'all keep it psycho.
Take it easy.